Hey everyone, it's Dez and Marco with After School with the Admins. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, share with a friend. Here's our newest episode.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of After School with the Admins. I'm your host, Marco Torillo, and I'm here with my co-host,
Des Caldwell. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you are listening or watching. We welcome you. We thank you for being here. We are excited to get this episode going. Marco, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, our guest today, you may have seen on the Today Show, or you may have seen on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. He's a real funny guy. We're hoping to have a couple laughs here, get a chance to talk a little bit about what it's like being an elementary principal in Colorado. We have with us Nick Holtvluwer. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be joining you guys today. Let's get this going.
All right, we'd like to start off always asking the same question to our guests. Can you give us a little information about yourself and your journey into education?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Nick Holtvluwer. My journey is a little bit sideways. I took the sideways route into education. My dream in college was to work in television and in education in some form or fashion. And I fell in love with television right away. And so I thought to myself, how could I incorporate television and education? And being a college student, I didn't do all my research. I thought to myself, let's work for Mr. Rogers, right? That was going to be the perfect combination. And I decided to go out to Philadelphia to work in PBS station so I could work with Mr. Rogers. Went all the way out there and figured out he's in Pittsburgh. So I should have done a little more research on that, but I did work in a PBS station. I fell in love with television and went back to my hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I worked for the local NBC affiliate, kind of behind the scenes in production and programming. And in about 3 years into my stint working in television, I decided I really should go back to college and earn my teacher's credentials. So I could follow that dream of being a teacher. And so I went back to my alma mater, Hope College, a small liberal arts college in Holland, Michigan. I had played football there as well back in the day, and then got my educational degree and became a teacher. And my joke is, because I worked in television first, when I became a teacher, I got a pay raise. That's how little you make when you start in television. So I was in Michigan, decided it was really tough to get a job in Michigan. They held on to those jobs back in like 2005. It was pretty tough. So my wife and I decided, let's just move. Let's just find a job. And so we moved to Florida, where I became a teacher in Hillsborough County in Tampa. And I was a teacher there. I taught first grade, second grade, and third grade within 6 years. Was encouraged by my principal to get my principal degree. So I got that at USF, University of Southern Florida, and then became an assistant principal in Tampa, then became a principal back home in Holland, Michigan. My first principal job ever was back in Holland, Michigan. Was the principal over there for 3 years at a Title I school. And then my wife got an opportunity in Colorado. So we moved here, and I'm now the principal at Mammoth Heights Elementary. Been here for now 10 years. So definitely a little bit of a sideways journey into education. I always ask myself, why did I even go into television in the first place? I thought maybe I wasted some years of my own life, but I'm finding out no matter what your journey is, and you end up in education, you're going to use those skills, whether that be in television, communication, anything. You're going to use those skills in this job. And so what felt like a waste at first has now become one of my strengths in this role as an administrator. So That's been my journey here. It's been one heck of a journey, and I've loved every minute of it, because there was a time when I was thinking I wasted myself working in television that I missed out on becoming an educator. And I really do think now that I have been an educator for like 20 years, it's the best job out there. So that's a little bit about my journey.
I love that. You know, we say this every time. It's very interesting always to hear the answers that we get from that, because you'd be surprised. Not as many as you would think are individuals who say, all I ever wanted to do was become an educator. A lot of people that get into this field usually are starting something, and then something gets them to that feeling like, I really need to be here instead.
Yeah.
I need to be part of this. And we start to always see there was like a moment, something happens that you veer, and then you find yourself into the calling that is education.
Yeah.
And we always say that it's a calling. People need people.
Exactly.
We don't just choose to be a part of it. Like you get into this and you realize you're meant to do something more, meant to do great things and be with individuals and help in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. That's perfectly stated.
Well, one thing I found interesting too with what you said about saying, like, you know, the aspect of working in television first.
Yeah.
We actually had a guest in one of our last ones that talked about being a theater student, and she said, really, when you think of being a teacher, it's like giving a play and doing a performance in a play for 8 hours, and then you go home and you redo it again, and then you go home and you redo it again. And if you think about it, it is like, you know, we are out, you're performing, you've got to be on point, you're out, you're moving around, you're trying to be energetic, you want to get the kids fascinated, involved, being a part of it, and you think of those parts of it. It really is television. So in a way, that was a big help probably for you, because the fact that you saw it. The only that's difference is there's no cameras in the classroom. Well, not yet, at least. We know.
Not yet.
Not everybody. Soon could be. COVID passed, so we don't have those cameras anymore. But
thank goodness
we have
for
those
that.
moments.
Yes, we did.
There are plenty of cameras. They're on the kids' glasses now.
That's true.
I've taught a few at the high school level. Like, wait a minute, why are your glasses red?
What's that blinking light?
Yep, that's right. For sure.
So as I mentioned before, you were on the Today Show, where when you were a teacher and you were Teacher of the Year, congratulations for that. When you were in Michigan, you had talked about the fact of that male teachers at that time period was an area that was scarce. Now we know that's also still in that field in some parts. Do you find that to be something that is a struggle for you, say, in your state that you're now an administrator in?
Yeah, it's still a struggle for sure. And, you know, back when I was a teacher in Hillsborough County in Tampa, I think it started off with my principal at the time was asked by others if they had any stories to present to about their school community. And so she just said, hey, I have a first grade male teacher. And so it was picked up by the local newspaper in Tampa. And then it got picked up by the Today Show. So, and they really wanted to know, like, why is this so important for males to be in the classroom? And I would always go back to, first of all, it's about the best teachers possible. I'll always go to that. It's about getting the very best teachers. But I think it's just difficult for male elementary teachers to find that role. Like you said, Marco, it's a calling, right? Not everybody gets that calling and is willing to make that sacrifice, where the pay is not what your friends, your college buddies are making on Wall Street or in the business world. It's definitely a calling. You got to make some sacrifices right away. And not a lot of males are ready to make that sacrifices because they're to support family and other things like that. So when I'm looking for like the very best teachers, obviously if I see a male come through the application process, I'll definitely take a look. Sometimes they'll get an interview, sometimes they won't, just based on their experiences. But I think it's just difficult. I think it comes right down to just the overall status of a teacher within the male elementary ranks and just the pay overall. Now, those are some very tough hurdles to overcome. But when you do find that candidate that's, first of all, an amazing teacher and can bring a male perspective to not only the classroom, but to your building's culture. I mean, today I had to go teach 5th grade puberty lessons because, I'm a male in elementary school. So those are some of the things that we just get called to do. But yeah, they contribute a lot and they bring fresh perspectives, but it's just very difficult to be able to get them into the building or have them have that calling overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So when just before you logged in, Marco was telling me that you were having that conversation, and I laughed because I'm at the high school level, and last week we had to pull all of our freshman boys together, and we put them in groups of something like, I don't know, 25, 30, and we were having that like young adult conversation with them, and talking about, okay, so now you're in puberty, like let's talk about what that means at 14 and 15. And so I thought we had really great conversations. The kids raved about it. They were appreciative that we thought highly enough about them that we would like have those conversations and give them an opportunity to, like, they called it real talk. So I think, and I haven't looked at the stats, but I've lived some of the stats. And certainly when I was at the elementary level, I saw far fewer male teachers than I did at the middle school and at the high school level. There are more at the middle and high school level. But I just had to, sort of back you up on the, a lot of times I will see young men who are teachers and are, good teachers who are saying, look, I'm getting married, like I'm the breadwinner. I need to be the breadwinner. I've got to go out and I've got to do something else. The pay isn't enough. And I've had conversations where I've, told people like, look, it's real. Like I went into administration initially because I said, look, do you see that pay bump? Like I wasn't necessarily ready to leave the classroom. I certainly didn't run from the classroom. I take every opportunity I can to return and teach lessons, whether it's co-teaching or model teaching. Like it's still a passion of mine, but that's real. And I'm sure, that's not isolated to just men, but it certainly does show up in the fact that far fewer men are in the classroom per se. And I think there are certainly lots of other reasons that lead to there being so many men in administration while there are so few in the classroom. But I do think that plays a role. Certainly there are other things that play a role that we could certainly delve into as well. But I thank you for that response. You also have been you've been an educator in multiple states. I've been in 3 different states, 2 of them right next door to each other, so it's a little different. But what are your ideas on like the differences that you see in the different states? Because you've been, there's some distance between the states you've been.
It's a very large triangle. When you travel the entire United States, if you put it.
I know. I say the same thing. It's like a big triangle. That is for sure. And my experience started in Florida, and when you're first starting out in it, this is the biggest difference I could tell you from all my experiences. When I first started out in Florida as a new teacher, I was like, I can make this fun. I can make school fun, but just tell me what to teach. Just tell me. I don't want to have to like look for, I don't want to make up a lesson plan for everything. Just tell me what to do. And Hillsborough County was really good about that. They trained you in a way like, all right, here's all your resources. For math, they went through it all for math and literacy and social studies and science. And they gave you all these resources. And I was like, great. And, through experience, you could make it your own. But the thing was that Hillsborough County did that I thought was valuable, that I've learned is different in every state, is they drilled it into a new teacher's head that when you were asked what is the curriculum by a parent or by another teacher, the answer to that question in Hillsborough County was the standards. The standards is the curriculum. And I thought that was, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, I got all these resources, but I still have to remember that the curriculum is the standards, right? Totally different when I moved to Michigan. In Michigan, it was, you're going to let everyone know that the curriculum is the program. What you're using is the curriculum, not the standards. You're going to be on page 4, and every other one of your 4th grade teachers is going to be on that same page, delivering the exact same structured lesson over and over. And you're going to, if my boss, I was the principal at the time, walked in and said, all right, get out your math book. Let's go to page 50. All your 3rd grade teachers should be on page 56. We're going to go visit every 3rd grade classroom to make sure you're on page 56. And that was so like backwards for me from when I learned about sticking to the standards. Here's your standard. Here's your resources that you can pull from to make it, more authentic to your classroom. It just didn't seem authentic when it was so scripted. And I understand the importance of scope and sequence because that was a big word. Fidelity was a big word in Michigan. So it was so much different. And then I moved to Colorado, where I am now, where there was like 0 resources at the time. And there was really no curriculum. You couldn't really say standards or program. And we've gotten a lot better to get these resources into our building, into our teachers' hands. I felt really bad when I first came here and I hired new teachers and they're like, what do I teach them? We got a nice book room. Go to the book room and pick out a book and here you go, right? But we've got to a point where I think there's a nice balance between the standards is the curriculum. Here's your program that you're going to use to deliver the standards. And we've even come so far as we have our PLOs, our learning objectives, our primary learning objectives, taking those standards and breaking them down even further so we can target our instruction through looking at data. So in my own experience on a variety of different programs and systems and states, I think there's a lot of different interpretations on what is curriculum and how it's delivered.
It's really interesting, the fact that, hearing definitely can hear about the standards in Florida. I think that's great to know that like they're sticking to the standards going through, but it was really interesting to hear that Michigan went with the program, kind of talking about like, we are doing this program and that's it. And everyone should be on the same page. And that always fascinates me when you hear that. And again, it goes back to that idea that like we are unified in education, that we should be unified. Maybe the process of how we do it, because determining the kids in front of us and how we do it should be different. But the fact of that, each state will have its own version of what they expect, how they see it. And like, it almost gives to the understanding of why our education system in some parts looks the way it does, because it is not a unification like we think it is. It is everyone's all over doing their own things, like almost wild, wild west, if you will, on the idea of what is it supposed to be and how it's supposed to be, though we say we have a unified front through our Department of Education. Yeah.
And it's even in Michigan, it's so different because Hillsborough County was the 8th largest school district in the country, and it's massive, and it's by county. And in Michigan, it was almost by town, on how every little district was being able to be organized. So you could have 2 towns that are neighbors doing things differently within Michigan. 100 high schools in the district in Hillsborough County to 1 high school in the district in Michigan. And here in Douglas County in Colorado, we got about 40, and it's by county. So I always wonder about just the overall size. And when it came right down to it, when I was in Michigan, the other things that I felt are a little bit different is the freedom you have as an administrator. In Michigan, I was just a district salesperson for my building. I had to toe the district line and sell it to my teachers. Mm-hmm. In Colorado, I have a lot of more freedom to run a building how we need, what our community needs. And we have our site-based budget. So if I have money in my budget and I need to hire another teacher, I can do that tomorrow, as opposed to a district in Michigan where it was so top down. You had to get permission from HR to the superintendent if you wanted to even consider posting another position within your building. So I feel like I'm in a nice sweet spot here in Douglas County, from not massively huge like Hillsborough County and not so small as in the district I experienced in Michigan. So you're right. There's just a lot of just variables out there that they seem small at the time, but they have big impacts in the system, no matter where you're at.
Yeah, and I've seen that happen. So I've been in Massachusetts, I've been in Connecticut, I've been in North Carolina, and I've also worked within magnet schools in each of those states as well. So that is a whole nother wrinkle. I don't even know if you want to go down that road. And not that I'm opposed to magnet schools, just it's a whole different world. With decision making. But I've worked in districts where one district operates one way and the district next door to it operates completely differently. I've worked in schools where you were able to veer from the curriculum and sort of do your own thing. And as long as students were finding success, that was the thing. And I've been places where everyone has to be in lockstep as you move on. And it's really like this box curriculum. I remember my very first teaching job, we were all told that, okay, everyone's going to teach a section of reading. I was an English teacher. And anyone who's taught, especially at the secondary level, knows that English and reading are two very different classes. A lot of people don't recognize that. And at the time, I didn't fully recognize it until I was told, all right, this is what you're going to be doing. And I was like, whoa. Like, I don't like diphthong. I don't know what that is. Like, hold up, time out. I remember that word in a class once in college, but like, we didn't go down, any level of depth there. And literally a box curriculum was brought in, and it was one of those teacher says, and I was supposed to like recite that in front of the class, and then students' responses should be right. And then I'm like dancing around until we get to the part, a student who actually says that thing. And okay, now I reiterate that is the correct answer, so everyone knows, right? And then 3 people need to say that is the correct answer, so everyone, repeats that that's the correct answer. And then, oh, wait a minute, now teacher says, right? And that drove me nuts. And so people having to live that, it is unnerving to me. And so I'm going to get into a question about social media because I'm really interested in social media. But what I'm finding is that I am venturing into social media for my own personal accounts, but also for our podcast accounts. And there is a lot of when we have a really innovative leader who is sharing just amazing things. People who are like, yeah, right, that would never work because, and I'm like, I'm so sorry that is your experience. I don't understand why you're being led that way, if in fact that is how you're being led. But for you to just think that this is pie in the sky and impossible, and some of the vitriol that shows up in the comment section.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's enough TikToking for today.
And what's amazing is it can be even a positive thing, and people are just like, no, I'm going to find a way to turn this into like. It's fascinating when people think that it's like you spent the time to have to write this out when you could have just scanned down to the next thing. It was nothing like, but you felt the need to make sure that got said.
Yeah.
This thing sat on your spirit so heavily that you had to try your best to ruin my day to let the world know that I am a liar.
I think it goes back to when things are so different, even from neighbor to neighbor, the power that can have on a culture. And I always just believed in, having respecting our teachers' professionalism. Our teachers go to school for years and years to get credentials. They continue to build their professional development throughout the years that they're teaching. And we're just going to tell them to read a script, because anybody could come off the street and do that. So a lot of what I like to do is really respect our teachers' professionalism, to take a program to deliver the standards and have fun with it along the way. If it's too scripted, anybody could do it. And I don't believe everybody's called to be a teacher. Not everybody can do it. And that's why I think it's really important to respect our teachers' professionalism. And when I see those comments on Instagram and TikTok, I think to myself, someone doesn't respect their professionalism or the profession overall.
Mm-hmm. Now, to get into that area, we know that's a big area for you, where we've done a lot of fun things I've noticed through your TikToks and your Instagram reels, where you're having fun with your staff, you're having fun with the students. Can you tell us a little bit how you decided to get into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll go back to, when I thought I wasted my time before I became an educator, I worked in television, right? So it's one of those things that kind of just popped up because I had that experience with videos and editing, and I kind of put it off to the side. And then, I read, I'm a big fan of George Couros. I don't know if you know who George Couros is. He wrote The Innovator's Mindset. And I get his newsletter. And one time, I think it was in 2019, he wrote a little newsletter about, because he's a big tech guy in the education, about this thing called TikTok and how you can use it to really connect with your community, not only with your students and teachers, but your outside community. I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. I like to make videos. I've been doing it my whole life. And so it just kind of all started with relating elements within a school day to one of my favorite shows of all time, The Office, and Michael Scott. And I thought, and I would see little clips of Michael Scott quotes. I'm like, you know what? You could actually kind of relate that to what we do in education. So it just started with me lip syncing Michael Scott and kind of putting a tag about how that relates to education. And that's kind of how it got started. And it got a little bit bigger because the next year was COVID. And I was able to use that platform to stay in touch with my community when we were all out of the building and we were all kind of experiencing this unknown world of online schooling and cohorts and all these things that separated us, using social media in a way that was lighthearted and in such a serious time to bring us together. Through that was a struggling time for a lot of people, especially in the world of education. It just helped keep our community glued together through silly little videos within TikTok and Instagram. But I also do YouTube morning show every morning. I've been doing that since I first started as a principal back in Holland, Michigan. And I would just edit a show. I can do a 5-minute YouTube show for my morning announcements. I can probably do a 5-minute show in 10 minutes with editing and all that. And that was another way I was able to just keep our community together. When we were all in our homes, they could still go and see the morning show, even if I was doing it from my home. So I see the power of social media and videos as that glue that kind of holds your community together. Lots of things to celebrate, put more positive out there than the negative. And people just gravitated towards it. So yeah, it's something that I'm definitely proud of. And not only because it just keeps us all together. And it's fun, and you can make it fun. It doesn't have to be negative. You don't have to be that negative commenter sitting on the keyboard and putting that negativity out. We can confront that negativity with more positive, and that's how I look at it.
I like that. I like that. Always trying to confront it with the positive, because it's the way we should be looking at things. Like, we don't have to jump down to that same level as someone when they make those statements.
Right. And it's not, I'll tell you, it's not easy. It's getting used to those negative comments at first. And we're like, oh my goodness, what is going on? It does kind of wear on you, but you get used to it. And I've learned if you don't engage with crazy, then it won't make you crazy. So
yeah, I engage. I'm like,
I got you.
So it starts from a place of, oh man, I hate that is your experience, right? Because
Mhm.
I mean, I've been doing this 25 years. There've been opportunities for me to do other things.
Mhm.
Um, like this is my calling. Like
Yeah.
I don't, take that lightly. And I there are other phrases that I've used, and Marco has heard me say, there've been times where I've been the token, right? And tokens get spent,
Mm.
and it's been exhausting. But there is a centering that keeps me coming back, that keeps me
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
And to know that someone is getting up every day and like doing this for a living, um,
Yeah.
doing this and interacting with kids that I can't interact with, um, it's hard for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it will begin with me like really, trying to understand like this is where you're coming from, but I do want you to see that this thing exists too, and stick it out, or you know
Mhm.
go, try to attack it from this angle. And then after a while, like there's a comedian in me that, okay, now I'm gonna troll you. like you're just, this is a pity party now, like.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
true. It's so
I'm
true.
I battle that with my social media. Um
Yeah.
and so like because of that, and I know how things can go, and I know because I'm in charge of the page, I know where I'll take it. I'm really hesitant to say, I'm going to pull my students into this video with me, or I see principals who like go classroom to classroom, and engage in trends with
Yeah.
their their teachers, and I'm like, oh, I would love to do that, but then I'm like, but if this turns into whatever, like,
Yeah.
I know they go low, we're supposed to go high, but like, I like to wrestle a little.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
you
right,
know
though. You're right. Absolutely right. Because, yes, it's definitely a fine dance all around. And whenever I see those negative comments coming in, my first thought now is, all right, we're viral. Let's go.
Nick,
like,
how did the staff take it when you started to do some of those videos?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I've been an outside the box type thinker from my whole administrative career. And so when these videos started popping up and I started incorporating some of my teachers, I don't think they were surprised. It wasn't outside my character, just because they know, first of all, I got my teachers back. Like, I'm a big believer in what our teachers are doing every day. I know how hard that job is. And so they love it because we're just spreading some fun. We're spreading some positivity. But yeah, and I have other teachers that have taken on to the social media platforms, and they're doing much better than me. So they'll even make a little bit of money. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. But yes, that's, I would say overall, because of just how I lead overall, it wasn't a shock. And so that kind of like helped diffuse any worries when it comes to how they gravitate towards it. I'll tell you this, though. It helps me hire great teachers. I put out that stuff, and it's positive and it's fun. And a lot of the times I'll ask the first question in an interview, I'll ask the candidate, what do you know about Mammoth Heights? And they'll say, well, we know it's a fun place to work and we love your videos and I want to be a part of that. And so that gets a lot of people who want to be a part of our culture in the door, and people that have that mentality also bring that to the classroom. And so they create an environment where our kids want to come to school and they want to learn. So it does help bring in teachers that want to be a part of this. And then they automatically fit in to what we want to do within our school because they see it living, even if it might just be a clip. It's a small clip of what we believe.
It's different when people are not just applying because, hey, I need a job, and you have a job. It's I want to be at that place because there's a belief there. Yeah, that's awesome.
And if you think about it, like it's about that time where we're in that world now where basically like you can actually visually see the school climate. versus kind of like when you think of like when we're looking for jobs and when we were first started, you hear about districts and you think they might be good. It doesn't mean that the school actually in that district is living what that district's living. The numbers look great, the things look great, but it doesn't mean that the actual climate and the belief system in there is what you want.
Yeah.
People can see what your school is. People see you, see your building, and see like, wow, there's actually fun occurring in there. Like this is something that would keep my spirits up moving into that area.
Back when I had to do research to find my school that I wanted to work in, I went to the website and it just said under construction.
Yeah.
So that's how long I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have websites when I first started. They weren't even built up yet. So it's kind of, I'm from the AOL time where I got to watch the key and then the actual guy running to go and start for the internet beginning. You just prayed no one picked up the phone.
That's right.
Well, that has always been the worst question to ask at an interview. Like,
right.
Why do you want to work here?
Mm-hmm.
Because I need money and you're giving money for work, right?
Yeah.
When someone genuinely can answer that question. Marco, we did an episode where we talked about hiring practices and we talked about like how we had like thrown that question out. But I love that, there's this possibility of that being reintroduced as, hey, I've seen this about your school and this is what I, really enjoy. This is what I love. We've had other guests who have opened the doors to the school, to the community, to applicants, to whoever to come through and visit, walk through, see what we're doing here, see if this is a place that, you can grow in, you can learn from. And I love that exposure exists. You've got younger students.
Mm-hmm.
I know my students have really, I love my kids. They have started following my TikToks. So for Valentine's Day, I actually posted a TikTok that said, I do a Jackass series where I'm like, hey, I'm a school administrator, blah, 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 blah. Welcome to Jackass. And my Valentine's Day was happy Valentine's to all my students who can find every one of my TikToks, but somehow can't find their assignments on Schoology and Google Classroom. And like oh my gosh, like they have been giving it to me this whole week.
That's funny. That's good one.
Like, yeah, I saw that. And you clock my T.
Oh, that's good.
And so it's pretty amazing, how much that connects. And again, I'm at the high school level. But it connects with the students, and so like they're asking me, like, oh, we gotta do one together, and I'm so hesitant to do something where I've got students in for a number of reasons. But how do your students as elementary students, I don't know if they're on TikTok or they watch with their parents or what, but how do they respond to this?
I'm always shocked at how many kids are on TikTok, to be honest. I'm always shocked. And so, it's mainly 4th, 5th, and 6th graders that will come up and say, hey, I saw your TikToks or your YouTube videos. I'm never ashamed because I know what I'm putting out there is what's for our school. I'm always more like, really? You're on TikTok? But they get a kick out of it. And I have, other students who can tell me other videos I've done and recite them word for word. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Yeah. How's you doing your math homework? Huh? Right. But I think it makes it brings the community together. It makes them proud to be part of this school, part of this culture. And they can tell their friends that they have a principal that, does fun things on TikTok. I'm very hesitant too, though, about doing any like TikTok trends with them. If I've done it before, it's because I've used it as a reward that if you do this, this, and this, and you do things, that will do this trend, but it's got to be like as an incentive. And I always have to get parent permission. And parents always love it. To be honest, I've never had any parents say no. But yeah, it's a good incentive tool too, and it just builds relationships with kids that go beyond the school walls that you don't really know. You might just be impacting somebody in a positive way that they needed it at that moment, and it was outside school hours. So yeah, I think that's powerful.
Did you happen to see an increase, say, in school climate and like kids feeling belonging or staff feeling to be a part of it? You know, I'm just saying from like the time you came in and started doing some of these things to now, like, did you happen to see an increase in those areas?
Yeah, I would say, I see an increase in just community from outside these walls. Like, we have a lot of people that want to be a part of just this school. And another thing that's different about Colorado is, especially in the district I'm at, I'm a public elementary school, neighborhood school. I got 6 charter schools that I can almost hit a golf ball to from my office from here. So competition is tough. The competition is tough when it comes to getting students in this door. And I always say, hey, I don't mind competition. I don't mind school choice. I think school choice is great. We're just the best choice. And so we just make sure that they know we're the best choice by putting that out there. So 9 times out of 10, when we have a family that wants to tour our school, they say, we see what you're doing. My daughter talks about it on social media, or we see it on YouTube, and we just wanted to come visit. And we get them in the door. We give them a tour. They feel that climate that we produce here, because it does definitely go. Those TikToks and Instagram videos don't work if it's not living authentically in your building. So yeah, it's just the videos are just a reflection of what's happening here every day.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I actually do think like that does, like you said, it is a reflection, because I think the fact of if one, you're proud enough to be able to do that, meaning as in like you can show what you are doing and have fun. I think it always bleeds into the community too, because if they look at it and go, if he's so proud of this, I want to be proud of this too.
Yeah,
and they, like, you build off of each other because you're reflections of each other. What you bring in and what your staff brings into that building is exactly what you're hoping the students are going to see and also want to do back. So you get kind of a little bit of each side to it there.
Absolutely. You bet.
Now, if I'm someone who wants to start to try and do some of these videos, what's my feeder? What's my get my feet wet?
Yeah. I always say, whenever if you want to get started on, let's just say TikTok, let's start there. You kind of want to, quote unquote, build a brand, right? And you want to stick to that brand on your videos. And I've found that I don't have as much success when I veer off on all my different identities, from being a principal to being a father to being a husband. If I try to combine all those things into one channel, it's not as successful as if I'm just laser focused on what I do as a principal. So I decide I'm going to stay in the principal lane, but then I'm going to identify some characteristics that make me the leader who I am. So you'll make a list of, all right, what are some things that are authentic to you? So what I did is, like, I'm relational, I'm trusting, I build community through fun and enjoying the process of learning. So I take those elements and I add those into fun videos, whether that be lip syncing or something that you just notice throughout the day that could relate to your kids, to your teachers, to the community, based on those certain characteristic traits that you identify as within your principal lane. So when you stick to that and you put that out there, and you have to take risks. It's definitely not easy. So you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to take some risks based on what you feel is important to you as a leader. And you put it out there, and then you engage with people that have those similar characteristics in that similar lane throughout that platform. And that's how I felt was the best way to not only build an audience, but connect with your community. So yeah, overall, I would say find your lane, stick to it, engage, and have fun and take risks.
Very nice. Is there any activities that you've done with your staff or with your students that you've kind of like, you've made it's become a bigger thing now and almost something you do within the school that's been involved through this?
Oh yeah, for sure. So seems like whatever we start here turns into a new tradition, and it's been really fun. So last year, we always have a way to celebrate our positive choices throughout different quarters of the school year. And so one year we came up with this idea. I think I saw another school do this on TikTok, but let's collect cereal boxes for our local food bank right around Christmas time as a reward to reward our sense of giving. And so we collected all these cereal boxes from our community and our kids. We have 550 kids here. So I thought if everyone brought just one box of cereal, we could make a pretty awesome cereal box domino chain, right? And so we ended up bringing like 700 boxes of cereal. I set up these boxes all throughout the campus, downstairs, up the elevator. And we made a video of it. Kids would line the halls. We're cheering for this cereal box challenge. And the video turned out to get over 10 million views on TikTok.
Wow.
And we incorporated every part of our community. We had students in wheelchairs that helped push the dominoes over and go up the elevator. And with a big celebration at the end, we donated all those cereal boxes to our local food bank after that. And so that has now become a new tradition for us, is that spirit of giving around the holiday season. We make a video of it. We post it on communities. The community sees it through Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. That's just one example of just kind of doing what we were going to do anyway, make a video of it, get a lot of attention, and then now it's a tradition. So, yeah.
So I saw that video.
Yeah.
It was one of the first things I saw
nice.
Joining TikTok. And I don't know if you were the first person to do it, but
probably not.
The way the algorithm works, like
right.
That's what I was seeing for however long. And it was just like every one of those videos was just so awesome.
Yeah.
And so no, I truly appreciate it. And like that's the type of thing I'm like, oh man, I really want to get like everyone involved. And I'm like, oh, but that's a lot of kids' faces.
I know.
Like that's like the anxiety kicks in, and I'm like, all right, maybe next year. But man, that was an awesome video.
Yeah, we had
like you in the community for that.
We had other CNN reached out to see if they could use it and if we had everybody cleared. So we don't have a lot of kids that have like no media, but I went through that whole video just to see very recognizable faces. It went pretty quick because you weren't going to be able to notice a lot of the kids, but there was a few, and I went through there, and sure enough, I had to make a few phone calls to some parents that checked the no media clause, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, that's fine." So I think sometimes they don't realize what they're checking on those boxes at the beginning of the school year.
I have a feeling your kids do. At this point, they must look and go, okay, I need to pay attention to him. Like, these are actually going out to places. This is not like, hey, it's going on the website where 5 people are going to be looking at it. Exactly. It's going out to other people.
Yep, absolutely.
Similar to like Des, I saw that one of yours too, and like I think of those all the time. Like I want to do more videos with my staff, more going through, because I know I've been able to start to kind of push a little bit with them. We did like the red carpet challenge. We did that one where like you bring the carpet out and have the kids play music and to see what they do, and we did that with with our staff. The one I wish we would have done was that Whitney Houston challenge where you bring the drum out. We did it at our pep rally, which I will say was the greatest thing. I've never seen 610 kids completely silent, just like waiting to see if the individual's going to get it right. And I was just in awe of this. I'm like, it is literally 10 minutes before we're about to leave for winter break. And I'm like, nobody's talking. Everyone's good. I'm like, this should have been on video because this would have been amazing at this point.
I know, right? So true. So true.
Do you have anything in the works right now that you guys are setting up? Anything fun?
It's funny. It kind of goes in spurts, it's kind of like it kind of happens, I would say, organically because of the climate and culture we have here. A lot of this stuff is like, oh, we're going to do this, but this might make a good video. So it's a lot of things are just very organic. But yeah, when we were talking earlier about teachers and how do they respond to it, I'll get messages from my teachers with videos and say, we need to do this here. Right. And I'm like, all right. But my caveat is yeah, we'll do it, but how can we do it just a little bit different to make it us?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, Des, you probably know if you do it the exact same, the algorithms are going to be like, this has been done before. You got to have a little bit of a differentiated part of your video that other people have done, but you're going to make it just put a little different spin on it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the challenge as well.
And again, it helps when you've got older students who will call you on it. I'm like, they're like, hey, I saw such and such video. Nah.
I know, right?
Like everyone's a critic.
And actually, it's interesting you say that with the staff sending you. That was going to be my next question. Like, is it now staff sending you they want to do this, or is it you doing that? Because I know now, since in my school, we've kind of changed the culture a bit and got it a little more just understanding, like we're here to have fun too.
Yeah.
And the activities we're doing, the things we put in place have started to go that way. But now I have 2 staff members who I constantly are getting. It'll be like the weekend. It's like 8 o'clock out of nowhere. I get a message just with a Instagram video going, thoughts? Yep. And then meaning that's like the answer of going, okay, so they want to see if we can set up this one. Or they're like, it's like a small chain going, we could probably do this activity. We can maybe get this going. And I never thought of it the way you said it. Like, how do we do it just a little differently to make it us? Right. And I like that because that's like something I'm thinking about when they bring it to me now. I want to be like, all right, great. What would you change slightly to make it our school?
Right. That's
so I think it's a good idea because I think that it makes it your own.
Exactly. Well, you asked if there's anything else coming out. I actually don't know, but there should be something. I was sitting in my office this morning, and my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Anderson, shows up and says, with her phone, she said, "Can you just tell me what you love about being a principal?" I'm like, "All right, what is this about?" Just so she hits record, and I just tell her what I love about being a principal. I'm like, "So what is this?" She's like, "Oh, I'm just putting funny filters on everyone's faces." I'm like, "All right, here we go. Let's see how this turns out." So I have a feeling it's a very serious answer, but my face is going to be all like filtered out. I don't know. It'll be interesting. So that's the next one. And Mrs. Anderson has more followers than I do. She's pretty popular on TikTok. So yeah, they have fun. They definitely have fun with it.
But again, I think that's a good thing because think about it.
Yeah.
If your staff is enjoying themselves and they're doing that on their time, they're finding new activities, new things to have fun and still make it exciting for the kids.
Yeah.
Like they're not doing the part where like Des was talking about earlier, it's not that crew now sitting inside the coffee room together.
Yep. Just
kind of sitting thinking about all the things they're upset about. And I remember when you did one of your videos of that, of kind of going like, I'm going to walk into the staff meeting, like I'm going to walk in while they're having their lunch just to see how we're all doing. And it's like, you just sit down with your cup of coffee and it's like, it's the truth. As an admin, we all understand that because I think that's the one thing I remember most when I first became an admin. I was walking down the hall and there was a bunch of teachers talking and I walked up just thinking like, hey, I was just going to have, and literally everyone stopped talking. They just like looked at me like, hey, Mr. Cirillo. And I realized I'm like, oh yeah, I'm that guy now. I'm no longer allowed to be in the conversation. I'm like, okay, see you guys later. It was like literally out of Dumb and Dumber. I want to be like, good gulp, eh? All right. Just like walk away. Like I had nothing else to do because I'm like, I'm done. I'm not allowed to be here anymore.
I know, and that happened because it actually happened. I walked into the staff lounge and everyone got quiet, not for any reason. I think it's just habit. I think they don't have any reason to stop talking, but when you walk in there, I'm just so out of my element when I'm in the staff lounge. They all just stopped. So I thought to myself, I can make a video of this where if I need like peace and quiet after a long, hard day of just loud kids and putting out fires, I can just walk into the teacher's lounge at lunch and it'd be super quiet and relaxful and peaceful. So I thought we got to, and I set that up. I'm like, all right, teachers, after school, I just need whoever wants to be in this video, can you just kind of go to the teacher's lounge? We're going to make this up. And I get my volunteers and we set it up. And that goes back to you, Des. It was all a setup. It was all for fun. But boy, the hate you get on these people think you must be a horrible administrator. If they stop talking when you walk into the staff lounge, you must be an awful administrator. I'm like, it was a setup and it was humor, but I don't know. Like I said, bless their heart. Bless their heart.
Yeah, it's triggering, and like we got to remember that. Some of my best videos that I've done the best are me pretending to do the things that we all know that staff hate when principals do. Right. And so there's a reason that people respond to that, because some of us as leaders are still doing some of those things that it's like, why are we still doing it? Like,
Right.
there's no way, but it is still happening, and it is triggering. And people have said that. They're like, are you trying to make me unfollow you?
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, Nick, it's been about an hour. It's been great conversation we've been able to have with you. We really appreciate you being on with us today. We like to always end with one final question we ask her. Do you have any advice for people who are looking to become administrators, or any administrators just starting out in the field?
Absolutely. And I learned this advice as a young administrator myself, because there's many times I thought about quitting. When I first became an administrator, I'm like, this isn't for me. Until I realized, what was the disconnect? Why do I not enjoy this role? And it came to one element was I was trying to make everybody happy. And when I decided that there's going to be times you're just going to have to be comfortable in your own skin and make some people not happy. And when you come to that realization that you're not going to make everybody happy all the time, I started to enjoy the job a lot more. And so that was a big reason that I stuck it out, and why I love my job now, because you build up that capacity to make people unhappy with decisions that you're firm in. And when I decided that you're not going to make everybody happy, that's when I started to enjoy the job more. It's exhausting trying to make everyone happy. I think you should try, but understand you're not going to always do that, and that's okay. And there's probably a reason why you're not making some people happy on the decisions that you have a firm belief in.
Those are very true words, as it is, you can't make everybody happy.
Right.
Yep. And I remember a statement that was told to me when I first became an admin was the statement of, the minute you get the job, 50% of the staff are not going to like you, and 50% of the staff are going to like you. Just beyond the fact, like, you don't, and it's from that point on, it changes based off of the years you're there and what you do. But just walking in, they don't even have to know you yet. It doesn't, and it's not against even maybe you. It could just be they wanted someone else. There was something going on, or whatever it is. It's just 50% are going to automatically. You're just going to have to figure a way to figure out what do I have to do to win them over or whatever. But you're not going to make everybody happy in the end.
That's true.
Just going to be someone who's just not going to be happy in the end, and you've got to learn to be okay with it as an admin.
Exactly.
It's just too tough to do.
Too tough, and have fun. Have fun in the job. It's probably one of the best jobs you'll ever experience. Have fun.
Absolutely. Des, any final words?
I would just say, well, first and foremost, thank you. This has been a lot of fun for me. I appreciate it. I feel like I've learned some things. I guess my final words would be, we talked a lot about the word happy. This job will not always make you happy. There are some things that you're going to see on a daily basis that are going to actively make you unhappy. But I appreciate the conversation today, because we've talked about things that bring us joy, and joy outweighs happiness to me. And we can control the things that we find joy. And so I appreciate you, Nick, for the joy that you bring to yourself, first and foremost, because that is tremendously important, but to your staff and to your students and to your community. That is absolutely needed. And that will, that's the heartbeat, absolutely, of an elementary school, but I think all schools. So thank you.
Thanks, Des. Thank you, Des. I appreciate it. Thank you, Marco, for having me. It's been awesome. It's so much fun. That was the fastest hour of the day. I can tell you that. I had a sticky note of everything I needed to do today, and I took a picture of it because it's the wildest sticky note I've ever wrote for things to do. I had to write a staff newsletter, done. Wrote a community newsletter, had a leadership meeting, puberty talk with 5th grade boys, podcast, and do the morning show, and also do a reference check in there for someone we want to hire. That was it.
I think, if anything, that actually just shows what it is to be an admin, because that's literally how a day goes as an admin. You don't know what it's really going to be, but there's going to be some random stuff on there in the middle of it. You're going to go, all right, I guess that's part of the job too today.
That's super random. And there's another sticky note I could have wrote that also happened, right? That I wasn't planning on. This is just what I was planning on.
Yeah, I carry a little book literally in my back pocket. That is my every single one. Every single day I go through. It takes 11 of them to finish a school year. I've got every year of being an admin all locked up together, and that's going to be my book I'll write when all said and done, with all the interesting things that happens to an admin along the years. Because there's just some moments in there that I look back and I go, my God, did that really happen inside of a school? You go and you're like, I really had to deal with that. And you go, all right, well, someone somewhere had to probably deal with that too. So they were able to go, I feel what happened there.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to echo also what Des said. Thank you so much. I agree. I think the fact of the joy you bring to your district is amazing. And I think with this job, we do know it can be very hard. But the fact that you come in each day, you bring that happiness, you bring that fun. Kids see it, staff see it. You know what I mean? And I always look at it as in, even if they may not be having that type of day, they can see you having it, and it could work to help. And I say it was could because you don't know how it's going to be. But the fact of the matter is, you hope they can see that and being like, you know what? I can get through this. We can have some fun too today. And we're going to do something fun. We're going to figure something out. And the fact that you got staff coming to you on it's always a great thing, because that to me is always a telltale sign that it's working. Yeah. Because if it's you're doing this and everyone's just kind of like rolling their eyes or like shutting their doors when they're like, it's time to come by me, like, oh God, he's going again. Let me just shut one of these doors. I don't want to be seen and be a part of this. Like, you're like, all right, maybe I'm alone in this whole situation. But when you got staff going like, I'll stay after school. I'll be a part of that video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, here's this thing. Can we try this one? I think when you see those, it's working and it's helping. So I think that's amazing. And Nick, thank you so much for being a part of this today. I hope for anyone listening, they get an opportunity and realize, take a chance to do it yourself too. I know it's scary. I know it can be probably hard to go and put yourself out there in that way. And you don't know what the comments are going to be. You don't know who's going to see it. Could be 4 people, or it could be the next day you find out 150,000 people have seen it. 10 million people seen it. You're like, oh, okay. We're officially everywhere now knows about us. Yep. That's a great thing, I think, in the end, because that means you did something that people wanted to see. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Des, as always, Fridays, great having a conversation with you after a long week. And it's always fun to have a good conversation that just kind of just uplifts before you walk out the door. With that, school's out.
You all will be missed. Until then, I gotta blow you a kiss. Until we meet again on that other side, this my rhyme. We all love you to the end of this time, always. Know this, you all will be missed. Until then, I gotta blow you a kiss. Until we meet again on that other side, this my rhyme. We all love you to the end of this time.